Hi, and welcome. This is Mrs. Montgomery, and we're going over how to write a formal laboratory report. The second part, this will be over data and calculations. Earlier, we looked at the generic laboratory scoring guide, and we looked mainly at the top portion of it. Today, we're going to look at the data and calculation section down here. So, looking at photographs, diagrams, or drawings, looking at the highest score, because that's what we want is the highest score possible, it says all are labeled. If more than one is included, a number is part of the label. Depictions are clear and neat. Adequate detail is included. Adequate number is included. Description is included as necessary to point out features that may not be readily apparent. So I went to my Word document and I made a table with just two boxes for one picture. And I put my cursor in the first box and I went up to Image, Insert Image from File, and I navigated to where I had saved this image, and then I went ahead and uploaded it. It came out so that it was way too big for the box, so I had to take a corner. Remember that the diagonal corners will scale it, keeping the scale ratio correct. If you grab a side, it will distort the picture. So I got it so that it was the right size for the box. And then I had another box left over for the title, which I titled Figure 1 because I might have more than one picture. Protein electrophoresis of various fish species. And then in my laboratory report, I wanted to refer to the standard, so I made sure that I put a label on the picture that said standard so that they knew where I was going to be focusing on. The next section is the table of data. And again, we want the highest points possible. It says that I need a unique title for each table. The title includes the independent variable and the dependent variable. The table should look like it could have been prepared before the lab. The independent variable on the left-hand side, the dependent variable on the right, and subdivisions as appropriate. Okay, so here I am in Word and I want to create a table. I'm going to go to Insert, Table, and I think this is going to require about a 5x5 table, but it's okay if I'm off by a little bit because I can always add another one. Okay, so my independent variable is time in days, so I'm going to write down time, and then in parentheses the unit is days. So my time's going to go down here. And then I'm taking data on the number of crayfish eaten. But I'm going to use 4 different species. So I want this to go all the way across these 4. So I'm going to right-click with my mouse and then come down here to where it says Merge Cells. And then I want this to be centered. So I center it right here, not where I first clicked. And I've got 4 different species. I've got a great blue heron, I have a great egret, I have an American bittern, and I'm looking at a green heron as well. Now that makes this a little odd, so I'm going to merge these 2 cells too. I'm going to highlight them, right click with my mouse, and go to Merge Cells. Now I want this to be Let's see, table properties. Let's see, we want this alignment centered, and we want it there. We got it centered all the way through. And okay. And it's not quite centered, so it's centered one way but not the other. So we're just going to click that and get it centered there. And I'm going to enter the days because I knew what those were before I started the lab. I want those centered as well. Right click with your mouse and center. Now I'm ready to take data the way that it is right now. And that's a good start to my data table. Okay, and now we've got the finalized data table ready to go with a title. One thing that students are a little confused about sometimes is what goes on the left-hand side and what goes on the right-hand side. What goes on the left-hand side is the independent variable that's going to show up on your graph. So frequently we are looking at different species, at several different things. And in biology, we are frequently measuring over time. Time is on the x-axis of the graph, even though it's not the complete independent variable. So the time is going to go on the left-hand side, and then the number of crayfish eaten on the right-hand side. The subdivisions are actually going to be individual lines on the graph, and those are going to be taken separately, and those are actually my independent variables because I'm looking at different species of birds there. And that is how to put in pictures and make a data table. Next one will be posted shortly. Thank you.